In one podcast or vodcast, video log. I don't know how do you
Vlog?
Vlog, something like that. All right, so this is the first I guess episode. Episode 1. It is streaming. There's like a 10-second delay.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
We're starting this off great, aren't we?
Well,
But this is perhaps the greatest way we could have started this. Okay, so I guess let's jump right into it. We got I'm Trevor. I run the 4th and 1, and I've got my two guest hosts today, Jarett Coley and Thomas.
I'm Jarett. That's Thomas.
I'm not sure that it actually matters. I don't know how much talking they're going to do. Full disclosure, though, Tom hates the NFL, and Jarett, I don't really know how much you know about the NFL.
A little bit.
Okay, yeah. So let's get right into it. So the first matchup we got is the AFC title game. That's the Pittsburgh Steelers at the New England Patriots. So it's opened up at a New England 6-point favorite. What do you guys think? I think that's not high enough, actually.
We're talking Vegas, right?
The Vegas odds. Yeah.
Okay.
I actually think it should be a higher spread. I mean, New England covered 16 last week against the Texans, and Tom Brady sucked. So, I mean,
you could say the same for the Steelers though, because Roethlisberger was so bad last week.
But they were at Kansas City, and there was an ice storm in Kansas that day, so it was super cold there. And
but you could say the same though that maybe they're going to play better as well because because of the conditions, it was so bad.
Yeah, weather doesn't work in one team's favor.
I think it does though. If you practice like when Miami went to Pittsburgh for the wild card game. I think that totally hampered Miami because they're like a warm weather team and they got up to Pittsburgh. It was cold. They weren't tackling. They just sucked. But I actually think the reason why the spread's not big enough is the Antonio Brown Facebook Live video after their win over Kansas. So you guys know about this?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So like after the game, Antonio Brown in the window where players aren't allowed to use social media after the game, he was on Facebook Live streaming a video from the locker room. And Mike Tomlin, the head coach, was seen on the video calling the Patriots like those assholes, and we hate them, and they're a bunch of bums, and and I think the Patriots are really going to use that as like a motivation to put a chip on their shoulder, to just like absolutely bury the Steelers.
I don't know. I feel like that's common locker room talk though amongst.
I think it is, but if you see it, you can like put it in your head and know that like those guys call us assholes. Let's go bury them.
I feel like you're assuming that regardless, though, wouldn't you?
Wouldn't
you assume the other team wants to crush you?
Well, no, you assume that, but like you know for sure, their coach was calling us out.
I guess you can go with that, yeah.
Right, and I mean, and on top of it, we're still on the Tom Brady FU tour because he had a suspension this season, right? He only played 12 games because he was suspended for deflating.
Still coming back with vengeance.
I still think he wants to just shove it in Roger Goodell's face.
I hope he does.
That it's like you suspended me for nothing, like. The whole Deflategate thing was one giant pile of nothing.
Well, it was.
That was just Goodell flexing his balls.
Yeah,
I think it was.
Like, what did they suspend him like 3 games started this season?
4.
4? Yeah, that's not even.
I mean, they could have taken it. He could have appealed it and gone to the Supreme Court, but he didn't. He sat it down, and then he had the greatest regular season in terms of touchdown to interception ratio: 28 touchdowns and 2 picks.
Well, what's suspending someone in the season start? Right? It's like the start of the season, anyways. It's not like it's mid-season or like. You know what I mean?
But in the NFL, though, there's only 16 games.
Yeah, because it's not like if you got suspended 4 games in the NHL, that's less than 5% of the.
Yeah, okay.
That's like less than 5% of the season. But in the NFL, 4 games is a quarter of the season.
Okay. Well, did it even affect the Patriots so much?
They went 3-1.
So you're not that much.
They went 3-1, but I mean, Tom Brady just. I think he wants to just rub it in Roger Goodell's face that.
Oh, if I were Tom Brady, I'd want to rub it in his face.
And I mean, if you look at the numbers, right? I mean, so let's compare Big Ben to Tom Brady, right? So Ben Roethlisberger over the season he threw for 3,819 yards, 29 touchdowns, 13 picks, and a 95.4 rating. Tom Brady played 4 less games, threw for only 300 yards less, 1 less touchdown, 11 less interceptions, and a rating that is 14 points higher.
You know, if he played, he'd have more than 300 yards for sure.
That's like one game. I mean, it's Tom Brady, right? So I think if Tom Brady would have played this season, we could have been looking at like one of the he would have had like 10 more touchdowns.
Oh, it probably
in 10 touchdowns in 4 games. I think that's totally fair. So we would have been looking at like 40 touchdowns to like 2 interceptions. That's just insane. Like, so I mean, and then we go to like the running backs. I mean. Possibly the best running back in the league with the Steelers, right? Le'Veon Bell. 261 carries, 1,200 yards, 4.68 per carry. That's like Hall of Fame level when you're averaging 4 point. If you can average 4 yards a carry, that means you can go first down, second down, and your third down is 3rd and 1.
What were his numbers from the first playoff game?
In the first, I don't know
Sorry,
each
last
playoff game.
game.
I don't know each playoff game separately, but I do know that he after the last playoff game, Le'Veon Bell broke the record for highest combined yards in the first 2 playoff games. He's got more than 300 yards rushing in the first 2 playoff games.
How many touchdowns though?
I don't know how many touchdowns. He's not really a touchdown machine. Like if you look at it, Le'Veon Bell had 7 touchdowns and 1 fumble this season, whereas LeGarrette Blount had 18 touchdowns and 1 fumble. LeGarrette Blount led the league in touchdowns. A lot of those were 1-yard runs
Red
though.
zone,
Like
red zone
they weren't.
touchdowns,
He wasn't breaking away for like big 30+ yard runs, 20+ yard runs. But I mean, and then there's like the age difference, right? Like LeGarrette Blount's 30. I mean, statistically, running backs don't play well once they hit 30. So this is probably his final year or very close to it. Whereas the Steelers are going to have Le'Veon Bell for like at least the next 6 years. And I mean, he's only going to get better. They can draft like more offensive linemen, replacing some of their older, like Brett Kiesel's getting a little older, I think. I don't know if you know if he's still on the team.
I'm not sure.
Brett Kiesel's the famous Steeler lineman who had the beard that was like the huge beard. Like it was massive. I mean, if we look at like wide receivers, again, I feel like it's a mismatch at wide receiver. Like Antonio Brown and Julian Edelman, I think that's a no-brainer. I think Antonio Brown is better than Julian Edelman like every day of the week. I don't know a situation where you would pick Julian Edelman over Antonio.
Maybe not if you're drafting a fantasy team. If you're looking at Tom Brady with Edelman, but you think of him, it's a weapon. It's one of Tom's weapons.
But I feel like Edelman is like a very replaceable player. Like Edelman was the second receiver when they had Wes Welker, and then they got rid of Wes Welker, and then it became Julian Edelman, right? Like.
Oh no! I mean, if Brady had,
I think like if
Antonio, for sure he'd want that.
Yeah,
but I mean, if you have Edelman, he's still producing. As long as he's catching the ball, they won't care.
I mean, but then on top of that, I mean, like Antonio caught 106 passes on 154 targets. That's catching at like almost a 70% rate, very close to it, right? He had 2 drops in 154 targets. All right, 1,284 yards. He's averaging 12 yards a catch. Like that's a first down every time he's catching the ball, basically, and 12 touchdowns. That's a pretty good season.
That's a pretty good season,
right? Julian Edelman, though, I mean, almost the same amount of targets. Like he had 159 targets, 5 more targets than Antonio, but he only caught 98. So he's catching a couple percentage points lower.
Wasn't Edelman also out part of the season though from injury?
I don't think Edelman was. I think it's their new rookie receiver. They got Malcolm Mitchell in New England. I believe he's the one who was injured for parts of games.
I thought Edelman missed a couple games earlier in the season when Brady was out, or just when he got back.
No, because they were looking to use Julian Edelman in Game 4,
right?
Because the 2 backup quarterbacks that were playing for Brady while he was suspended were both hurt, and they were going to use Julian Edelman as the backup quarterback because he actually played quarterback for Penn State in college.
That's right.
And then when he got drafted, they converted him to a receiver. But I mean, and then Edelman's had 5 drops. That's a lot of drops. Like when you think about it, Antonio Brown had 0 fumbles and Edelman had 3, and only 3 touchdowns for Julian Edelman. Like I just don't see. I feel like Tom Brady is going to have to play like out of his mind, fantastic to win this game. I mean, the Pittsburgh defense isn't really that great. I mean, their passing defense ranks 16th, and their rushing defense ranks 13th. And their total defense is 12th. But I mean, I just don't see how this is such a lock of a game for the Patriots. And I think this is the year. So Bill Belichick is the notorious coach in the league, right? He gets rid of players before they get old, right? Like he sent Chandler Jones to Arizona. He traded Jamie Collins to the Browns mid-season this year because Jamie Collins wanted $2 million more on his contract. And Bill Belichick's like, I'm not paying you $2 million. I'm banishing you to Cleveland now, right? And so it's like, there's no, aside from Tom Brady, there's no stars on this team. It's Tom Brady.
I would still call
it's Tom Brady plus like a bunch of B players.
I'd call Edelman a star only because of Tom Brady, though. Only because of Tom
But
Brady.
if you put Julian Edelman on any other team in the league, is he still a number?
think he's
Is he a
still-
number?
he's
Is he a
number one.
number one receiver on every other team?
Not every team, but most teams, I would say.
Most teams,
Yeah.
really. Would you take him over Julio Jones in Atlanta?
No.
What about and what about Des Bryant? Would you put him on that Dallas offense?
Maybe a different role. Not over Dez, but maybe a different
Not
role.
over Des.
Not over Dez.
But see, that's the problem, right? Is like if we're talking about like your best wide receiver is like B plus at best, right? And you're going up against a team that has one of the best wide receivers, the best running back.
But look at last game though. How many touchdowns did the Steelers get?
The Steelers, I know, but
It was all kicks. So I mean, it doesn't matter if you have all these deadly weapons, you can't use them properly.
But see, here's the thing:
And look
is,
at Tom with his B to you. You know, your B and C grade
Players.
catchers. But he's also getting. He got what 38 points last game?
but I'm trying to make a point here is that like, so Bill Belichick gets rid of guys before they get too old, and what I'm trying to say here is Tom Brady's 39. You can't play forever, right? We all saw how quickly Brett Favre went downhill. We all saw how quickly Peyton Manning went downhill, right? Father Time is unbeaten. He catches up to you very quickly. I mean, he's 39. Do you know in the last playoff game, Tom Brady threw as many interceptions last game as he threw all season? He threw 2 picks against the Houston Texans defense, and that was the most picks he's thrown in a game. He threw 2 picks all year, and he threw 2 picks last game. So I think if Tom Brady, believe it or not, and this is going to be like, people are going to rip me for this and they're going to call me crazy, but if Tom Brady has a bad game and the Patriots lose, and I mean Tom Brady has a real bad game, like we're talking, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, something along those lines. If Tom Brady has a game like that, I could see Bill Belichick calling up Robert Kraft, owner of the Patriots, being like, look, we need to have this talk. We've got 2 very good backups.
Yeah, but
It's time to
they're
move
good,
on from
but not
Tom.
Tom Brady. Good.
But if Tom Brady can't make the throws, like here's the thing: Tom Brady can't scramble, right? If the pass rush gets to Tom Brady, he can't run. He's too old.
But he's never
and
been a runner though.
But he actually has. He actually used to have some really great scramble ability, and his footwork was top notch. And now, if the pass rush gets to him, he has 0 chance to scramble because he is slow. He is old. And I can see if he has a stinker of a game and they lose, right? Then I could see New England moving on from him.
Well, I don't know. That's crazy. 'Cause think about it this way: Tom Brady still played most of the season.
Yeah.
Got them to the playoffs. Got them through the first round.
Yep.
He's any team would take him and start him over
Oh,
any other quarterback.
100%. But on the other side, I see it this way as too: is now let's say Tom Brady has a fantastic game and they just absolutely demolish the Steelers. Right, and they go to the Super Bowl and they play. We'll get to the other side of the Super Bowl later, but let's say they win the Super Bowl, right? Then Tom Brady's aura of greatness would have just like increased by leaps and bounds because he'll be the first quarterback to have 5 Super Bowls, right? So I see it playing out 2 ways, right? Either Tom Brady is going to play amazingly well in classic Tom Brady fashion, and he's going to be the field general of all time that no one's ever been, and he's going to just absolutely crush Pittsburgh, or he's going to get absolutely crushed by Pittsburgh.
I don't know, because it's the same argument you're making for Tom goes with Ben as well.
No, but Ben is like 7 years younger. He
had probably one of the worst games he's played ever last game. I don't think he was
Ben's
playing the best
34.
game.
Ben's 34. He's 5 years younger. He's still got plenty of time.
He's looking slow out there. A lot of injuries too.
But Ben has actually never been a runner.
No, that is fair, but he still gets hurt all the time.
But he's
not getting hurt. Brady's not getting hurt like that.
No, but Ben's whole mantra, his whole career has been, I'm going to stand in the pocket, I'm going to throw the ball, and if I get hit, so what? I'm 6'5" or 6'4".
Brady's 6'4".
Brady maybe 6'4", but he is not built. Big Ben is built like.
Well, he is Big Ben. I mean,
they call him Big Ben for a reason because he's 6'4" and like 250 pounds. He's built like an offensive lineman that can throw the ball 40 yards.
I still think it's unfair to say that Brady's old, he can't play anymore.
I'm not saying
he
can't.
I'm not saying he's the best quarterback in the league. I would take him over any quarterback if it were one game.
I'm not
to build a.
I'm not saying he can't play anymore. I'm just saying if he has a real bad game, like a real stinker, I could see no. But I'm giving it 2 sides, right?
I'm saying they might start talking, but I don't think you get the point where they say, okay, Brady's done. They might say, okay,
Well,
maybe
look
let's
what
get a
happened.
few
Look
more
what
reps
happened.
in,
Look what happened to Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay there, right?
Those guys also weren't as good as Brady has ever been. Like
What?
he's better than both of them.
Oh, undisputedly, of course. But I'm saying, like Brett Favre was, the franchise quarterback. He was one of the best quarterbacks of a generation of quarterbacks. And then they drafted Aaron Rodgers, and they said, "Okay, you're out of here. You're old now."
Yeah, but New England does not have an Aaron Rodgers in their pocket.
But they do, though.
They don't.
Jimmy
He's not that good.
Jimmy Garoppolo is as good a backup as you can get.
A backup.
Because in the NFL, you get two kinds of backups, right? You get young guys who are unproven, or you get old guys like Tony Romo, who are expensive and broken, right? So the Patriots have as good a situation as they can get. They've got two young guys, both who have several years of film, and they've been in the system. They understand how how Josh McDaniels runs the system. It's not.
So to your point, then okay, so maybe you are right. So maybe he has
So
a bad game.
if he had, and
they
I'm
might
not
start talking, but they're not saying we're getting rid of him yet.
Oh, I'm not saying it's going to happen right away. I'm just saying I think the wheels will be put in motion
I'd
for the
still say
Patriots to start moving on from him.
He'd still have 2 years in him.
2 years, that's a long time. That's
Yeah, but you still
he'll be
play
40,
him.
He'll be 42 by the time that happens.
So what happens if say next year he plays? Maybe he plays 10 games. Garoppolo plays 6, but Brady's numbers are still far better. What do you say? Okay, sorry, Tom, we're gonna move on from you.
But what about this, right? So now, what if he plays fantastic? They go to the Super Bowl and they just absolutely crush the Super Bowl and they just win in glorious fashion, right? Wouldn't it be great for the greatest quarterback of all time to retire a Super Bowl champion?
I mean, it would be nice
on his FU tour to Roger Goodell.
It would be nice.
Wouldn't that just be like the greatest story of all time?
Be pretty good, but what if he comes back next year and wins 6?
See, but it's so tough to repeat in the league. Like, look at this,
it's definitely tough, yeah.
I mean,
100%.
And I don't really know that the Patriots, like, their O-line isn't really as great as, say, Dallas or the other teams, and their defense is really, like, and I know we got a friend here who's going to absolutely just despise me for saying this, but the defense in New England really isn't that good. I know the defense in New England rates fairly high, like they're the 8th overall defense, but I think they're playing above their level. I mean, you
can say that, but what happens if you say they play above their level, but every time there's a good defense that comes out of nowhere, people say, they always say they play above their level.
Well,
that's
the Houston Texans were the number 1 defense this year, but they got Jadeveon Clowney. They got like a premier number 1 guy.
Yeah, and look what happened to them.
Right, but they were still you wouldn't be surprised that the Houston Texans were the number 1 defense this year because they have the pieces on their defense. Like the team that's just if all of a sudden next year the Chicago Bears have the number 1 defense, that would be a surprise.
Yeah, that would be a surprise. But to say that the Patriots kind of have a good defense.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not saying they have.
I think you didn't say that.
I think they have an average defense,
and
I think they're average and they're playing a little bit above their means.
No, an average defense would be
because average
20th. They're the first for points allowed.
I know, but I mean,
that's pretty good. That's on average to me.
But that can also be misleading because I mean, if you have an offense that always if Tom Brady marches up to the 50, and then you punt from the 50, and you're always pinning your opponent on their own 5-yard line, well, of course your defense is going to be first in points allowed because every time your defense is on the field, they're starting. But if your defense is starting in great field position, right?
I agree with you. Yeah, but if you have a bad defense or an average defense, they're going to get pushed back and scored on. Because a team I know what you're saying, but if they were an average defense, they would not be first in points allowed.
I'm just saying, I think they're missing the necessary pieces to have that elite defense.
I think this way though, their defense is good enough. It keeps Tom at a nice field position most of the time, and then Tom gives them
great field position.
Position. So
their
offense defense could be average, but they're average enough where it works perfectly, where one's not lopsided.
They're totally a passable defense that they won't do anything to lose you the game. They won't do anything to lose you the game, but I don't know that you feel 100% confident that they will do enough to not win you the game. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
I mean, but
I feel like you're just being kind of quiet here, not chipping.
I don't know how.
But with Brady, it's all you need is a defense that's good enough to keep. You don't need an outstanding defense with Tom Brady. You need a defense that's passable. That does enough enough to keep the other team at bay.
You're probably right. And I mean, like in the last 5 games, I probably should have looked this up before I
because
brought
with
that
Tom,
point
the
up.
scoring machine, the greatest quarterback in my opinion of all time, you don't need to have the most stellar defense.
Oh, he's totally he's definitely the best quarterback of all time.
Because you look at last year, I agree with you. Last year the defense won that Super Bowl for sure.
I'm just looking at it like this, okay? So the Patriots at home this season are 6-2. They've only lost 2 games at home all year. I was at one of those games. It was fantastic, by the way. I was on point out, and we were at the Baltimore. It was Monday night against the Baltimore Ravens. It was fantastic. Shout out to Jarett Stadium. You're great. However, on the road, the Steelers are 5-3. They're winners on the road. So I mean, they're not a bad team. And the Steelers have won 9 games in a row.
Yeah, they have, but look at their last game though. It was not a game that I'd be too proud of. It was a win, but it was not a good win.
But 9 games in a row.
Yeah, but when you're counting on your kicker to win you a game, your kicker's not going to get. Okay, to your point. So last game, the Steelers won by kicks.
Right.
You want to have a field position with the offense of Tom Brady, giving defense good field position.
Yeah,
these are points allowed.
Totally.
Right
I mean,
that means they're going to have to outkick Tom Brady's arm. That's not going to happen.
Well, and if we want to bring it down to kickers, I know I think their kicker in Pittsburgh is Chris Boswell, if he's still the kicker there. I think he was. But Adam Vinatieri is the Patriot, or is it Adam Vinatieri or Steven Gostkowski?
I think it's Gostkowski.
Gostkowski. Vinatieri's with the Colts. That's right. So I know if it's still Boswell in Pittsburgh, which I'm looking up right now. I probably should have done that earlier.
And if you're going to tell me that they're going to outkick Tom Brady's arm when they're probably still in a good position to kick their own kicks, I just don't see Pittsburgh coming out on top in this one.
Yeah, so it is Chris Boswell. Okay, so
and also don't forget, this came out this week. The Pittsburgh team is all sick.
Yeah,
I mean, they had 48 hours since that came out.
Yeah,
but I mean, if any of your players are sick and not at
100%, it puts you at a disadvantage.
How do you play against a very good New England team?
And I mean, if we're going to bring it down to kicks, I mean, the reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers are the team that goes for 2 points most often after a touchdown is because Mike Tomlin doesn't trust Chris Boswell to make a 30-yard field goal.
So I mean, how are they going to kick against Tom
And Steven Gostkowski is one of the best kickers in the league.
Because if they think they're going to be getting 30-yard field goals,
yeah,
I'd be shocked.
That's a tough order. The 30-yard field goal is from the 15-yard line, basically.
Yeah.
Or the 17, basically. So I mean, they're in a really tough spot there. The other thing I found interesting on Score Mobile here, when I was looking up this game, some of the stats. Shout out to Score Mobile. You're a great sports stat.
I use it too.
It's fantastic. I actually love it. In the last 5 meetings, New England is 4-1. The last 4 games against the Steelers, and the last time they met was actually earlier this season, where New England won 27-16. Last year they played, New England won 28-21. The game before that was New England 55-31. Basically, these games are all high scoring. Like, none of these games are any semblance of defense. So I mean, I don't know that the 12th best defense and the 8th best defense. I don't know that those are going to be factors. Like, I could see this game being a gunfight. And I really, hang on a sec here. I mean, I totally think this could be like a shootout, and if it comes down to a shootout, I just feel that the Steelers have a few more weapons. Like if
shootout, come on.
If Gronkowski was healthy, I would be all over the Patriots.
But I know what you're saying, but
as the season's gone on, Martell said, "Okay, Gronk got hurt, he's out." So then they got Martellus Bennett as their other wide receiver. But as the season's gone on, he's become less and less of a target for Tom Brady and more of a blocking tight end because that O-line just can't protect him.
No, the O-line is definitely weak.
Right.
That's definitely
Malcolm Mitchell missed the last game because of a knee injury. He missed a whole bunch of games this season because of a knee injury. When Malcolm Mitchell's been in the game as a rookie wide receiver for the Patriots, he's been fantastic. But he hasn't been healthy all season. He's missed a lot of time. He might be playing in a limited capacity tomorrow. It'll be tough for him.
I still think in a shootout, you never let Brady.
I don't know that I don't know.
I wouldn't even take.
I'm very close to like a 52-48 in the Steelers' favor.
Oh, that's a
because they got
60-40 for sure.
Because Antonio Brown is liable to go for a 50-yard touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, I won't count. I'm not counting the Steelers.
Like if you're putting,
but I'd be shocked if they won. To be
honest. I'm looking at like Patrick Chung and Logan Ryan covering Antonio Brown. I just feel Antonio Brown is so much better than those two.
Yeah, you can say that, but
if I'm the Patriots, I'm terrified of the deep pass because Bill Belichick is good at this. This is Bill Belichick's mindset throughout his entire career. Whatever you're good at, I'm going to take that away and I'm going to make you do the other thing. So if you're a great running team, I'm going to stuff the box and I'm going to make you pass. If you're a great passing team, I'm going to play cover and I'm going to make you run on me, right? And so the Steelers have the best running back in the league and one of the best wide receivers. But you can't stop both at the same time, right? You can either play cover or you can play a run defense, right?
True.
So I mean, I think this is the game plan they're going to go into it with. I think Bill Belichick and the Pats defense, I think they're going to stuff the box. They're going to put a bunch of guys in the box. They're going to stop Le'Veon Bell, and they're going to say, Ben, throw it on us. And if you can beat us on the outside, if your throws can beat us, good for you.
Yeah,
and if you're going to play that style, I'm terrified of Antonio Brown just any minute breaking out and ripping down the field.
Yeah, but you know they're going to be covering Antonio.
I know,
but they're going to have him covered on almost every play.
Well, of course, but I'm just saying, like, if you're going to be playing a style where you're being like, okay, you're not going to run the ball on us, pass it, try and beat us on the outside, then you're just going to be terrified of the most explosive receiver in football breaking.
Well, how is New England's pass and rushing defense?
I mean, their passing defense is 12th, and Pittsburgh's passing defense is ranked 16th. And their rushing defenses, New England's rushing defense is actually tied for 3rd in the league. They're a great rushing defense. Like Rob Ninkovich up the middle, great run defense.
So, I mean, you already have a really good run defense.
Right.
So you concentrate maybe a smidge more on their passing. But I mean, I'm still pretty happy with the defense.
I'm not saying it like I think that I think the Patriots are going to win. But if I'm the Patriots, I'm absolutely terrified.
You don't go into
I'm terrified of Antonio Brown.
You don't go into this thinking, we're going to win. You go into it still thinking it's going to be a hard game.
But I think they're going to win. I think I have no question in mind the Patriots are going to win this game. They're going to the Super Bowl. Do I think they cover 6 points? Actually, I think they cover a couple more, actually. I think it should be closer to like 8. So, I mean, and just for the people watching this, we're also watching the Jets game on TV here while we film this. The Winnipeg Jets, not the New York Jets. Yeah, let's clear that one up. I don't know if I'd be caught dead watching the New York Jets.
Same Louis got up 2 in this.
Well, the Jets were up like 5-1 or 5-2 or something,
5-2,
St. Louis is back in the game 5-3, and and I thought Pavlik was going to take us to the promised land, but
just a little sports update for you.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess now is probably a good time. You guys want to move on to the other title game?
I think we're pretty in agreement.
I think
New England, but
it's going to be New England, but we're terrified of Antonio Brown.
I
think that's pretty good consensus here.
That's what I learned from this.
All right, fair enough. And I think you're going to have a few more chip shots on the other one, Tom, because we're talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, okay.
Your boy.
Well,
like fantasy football.
Yeah.
So, little side story here. We're drafting fantasy football, and the first time he played, he drafted Aaron Rodgers 3rd overall. Not in the 3rd round, actually 3rd overall, because he was thinking like in classic football fashion, a good quarterback and a good defense.
Yeah.
So he drafted Aaron Rodgers in the 1st round, and then he drafted the Houston Texans defense in the 2nd round.
That's pretty good still. I mean, like,
in fantasy football, that's terrible. But
yeah, that's true.
If Aaron Rodgers had the Houston Texans defense, he'd win the Super Bowl like every year.
If only fantasy worked that way.
Okay, since we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, I don't get why everyone thinks he's the best quarterback in the league right now.
Okay.
Like, I get that he has some of those sexy passes.
Yeah.
That he probably should have gone off. But if you're in a situation, you shouldn't be in a situation to begin with, though.
Okay, so
I give him credit
those are
for
good passes. Yeah, those are beautiful.
But he shouldn't be in those situations, though.
So I got 2 thoughts on this. Number 1, the Hail Mary should be part of like the standard offensive like package that the Packers run. Like they should just be like, oh, it's 1st and 10 from our own 30. Okay, guys, we're gonna go for a Hail Mary.
Yeah, but you don't do that because you get picked.
No, but they should because Aaron Rodgers has like 5 touchdown Hail Mary plays in his career.
Okay.
And he's never been picked off on one of them.
Yeah, but he's only done 5. You start doing more than the law of average. You know.
I know the law of averages says that he's going to get picked more often.
He's got a Hail
but
Mary.
But it's a touchdown play.
Right, but if you get picked on a Hail Mary,
I think the risk reward is huge.
Okay, but if you get picked on a Hail Mary, right?
Also,
you're like an idiot.
Yeah. You got no defense. Like they could get at least a good 40 yards in if returning.
No, I know, but I mean, it's just like
it's better than a kick returning for lack of defense.
If you can make the Hail Mary so easily, like Aaron Rodgers does, I think why not try it more often?
Because you get picked.
You make a valid point here. I just don't really like it.
Because you get picked. Okay.
And point number 2 about why Aaron Rodgers is so great. Okay, they started the season 4-6, and for the Green Bay Packers, the storied franchise of the league, the team that doesn't spend money in free agency, they don't go out and spend big money contracts, nothing like that. They started out 4-6, and you expect Aaron Rodgers to be better than that. 4-6 for the Packers, that would be like,
Is it not an aging team though?
What?
Is it not an aging team?
Oh, they're definitely an aging team. Oh, for sure. But
yeah, this is
slow
down though.
No, but it would be like if the New York Yankees missed the playoffs for like 10 consecutive years. Is what being 4-6 for the Packers is like.
Okay, like seems extreme, but okay.
It's unacceptable. Like as Winnipeg Blue Bomber fans, we're totally okay not winning the Grey Cup. It just happens in Winnipeg.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Being a Bombers fan, it's like some next level masochism.
You've gotten used to not winning the Grey Cup.
Winning the game's nice,
Green Bay Packer fans are not used to losing. They don't lose.
Okay.
They quite possibly had the greatest run of quarterbacks in the history of the league. They went from Bart Starr to they had a couple guys in the 80s that weren't really fantastic, but they had Bart Starr, then a couple guys who didn't work out, then Brett Favre, and then Aaron Rodgers, right? Like 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, like right after each other, Okay. How many other teams have had 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks like boom, boom, boom?
How old is Rodgers?
Rodgers is, I believe he's 34. Can't believe I didn't write that one down.
So as a QB, it doesn't have much longer. So like 3-4 years tops.
Well, no. See, we were talking about Tom Brady playing, so he was like 42. So I mean,
yeah, but we all kind of agreed that Tom Brady isn't going to play till 42.
He might.
He actually could.
He said he could. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he said he wants to play till he's 54, but that's
right.
But that's just ridiculous. So Aaron Rodgers is 33. So yeah, he's got some time.
Yeah, he's got.
I thought he was the same age as Big Ben, but I guess he's a year younger.
I think he still has 44.
He should have at least 4 really high level years.
Yeah.
And then maybe like 2 years after that where he needs a little bit more help with the talent around him. But so the reason back to the first point. Man, we went on a real tangent there.
Yeah. Is this whole thing just one big tangent?
More or less.
Okay.
But so the whole reason why Aaron Rodgers is regarded as like this fantastic quarterback is at the start of the season, they went 4-6, and people were saying, well, the receivers couldn't get open. All right, and they were really terrible. Like some of those games that I watched were some of the worst receiver play I've ever seen in my history of watching football, probably like 10 years now. But and Aaron Rodgers at 4-6, they were asking him, well, you think you guys are going to make the playoffs? And Aaron Rodgers said in an interview, and this is word for word, I'm fairly confident that we can run the table. As in, I'm pretty sure I can play so great that we'll win every game for the rest of the season, and we can make the playoffs.
Doesn't he always throw shade like this? Though?
He does. He is like supremely confident in himself. And I think in a quarterback, that's what you need. You need.
Yeah.
It's the same thing like an NHL. You can't have an NHL goaltender that has no confidence, right? You can't have an NFL.
We know those Jets fans.
You can't have an NFL quarterback that has no confidence, right? So I mean, he's supremely and he's dating Olivia Munn. So
Still?
I mean, yeah, still.
Aren't they married?
They're married, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so I mean, like you got to be pretty confident to date a woman like her, right? No. Or am I wrong there?
I don't know.
I feel like she got famous from sleeping with different people.
Yeah, because like I remember on Attack of the Show beforehand, like way back in the day, and that's it. Yeah.
That's why I used to watch it too.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's it.
So I guess that's enough about Aaron Rodgers. Let's actually talk about the game here. So it's the Packers at the Falcons. The Falcons had the number one offense in the league this year, the seventh highest scoring offense in league history. The Falcons are favored by 5 points.
I think it's a little high.
I think that's a lot high.
A little high. I would say maybe favored by 3.
The Packers won their last game by 3, and they had a field goal kickoff basically with the Dallas Cowboys going back and forth for the last 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
So I think 5 is actually a little too high. The Falcons kick a lot of field goals. They got Matt Bryant as their kicker. I had him in fantasy this year. He was a fantasy monster. He was kicking 50s left and right. He is great. But I guess more importantly is, so the Packers have won 8 straight, but the Falcons have won 5 straight, and the Falcons are at home.
You got to go with home field advantage for sure.
Do you?
Yeah, I think so. I know the Packers are good, but number one offense. I think Matt Ryan is. You could argue the MVP this year.
You definitely could argue that, yeah.
Julio Jones is a monster.
Yeah, for sure.
Their defense is good enough. They're not great, but they're good enough.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Atlanta defense, if you want to talk numbers-wise, both defenses are actually pretty trash.
Yeah,
true. Pretty, Green Bay is 22nd overall and 25th overall in total yards.
For the last 5 that Atlanta won, how much did they win by?
I don't got their spreads, but I don't.
Did they win slim?
They did have the 7th highest scoring offense of all time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were putting up a lot of points. They're averaging 25. That's their defense. Their offense was averaging 33.8 points per game.
Yeah, okay. So the 5 home wins then. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, let's look at the quarterback matchup. Let's start there, right?
Yeah.
We've got one Hall of Famer and possibly one Hall of Famer. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is going to the Hall of Fame, right?
Oh, he is,
yeah, for sure. So this season, he threw 401 completions on 610 attempts, 4,428 yards, 40 touchdowns. That's pretty great. 7 interceptions and a 104.3 rating. I call that a great year.
That's a great year.
I mean, for as bad as they started, starting 4-6, and then winning 6-0 to close out the season, and then winning your first 2 playoff games to keep your Super Bowl dreams alive, I call that fantastic. Matt Ryan threw 373 completions on 534 attempts, almost 60 yards short of, or 54 yards short of 5,000 yards, which would have been huge for him. Only 38 touchdowns, and again 7 picks.
Only 38 touchdowns.
Well, I mean, he had 2 less touchdowns than Aaron Rodgers, but
that's negligible.
I don't know. That's 14 points.
Yeah, granted, but
but they still had the highest scoring.
Yeah,
But that's what I'm saying. A lot of it was also the running backs and the kicker. I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not all Matt Ryan.
To only have 38 touchdowns is not bad.
To have 38 touchdowns, that's still really good.
Yeah.
But you don't get 38 touchdowns.
40 is still better. Yeah. 40 is still higher. Yes.
40 greater than 38. I mean, a little bit of math. So, I mean, I think so. When Matt Ryan was drafted, he was drafted 3rd overall. I think people have always wondered, can he be that franchise guy? Can he be, can he be the next Aaron Rodgers, right? And I mean, it's year 9 for him. I just don't know. But I think if he wins this game and then wins the Super Bowl, I think he cements himself in that upper class of quarterbacks who are the elite quarterbacks.
I wouldn't put him elite. I wouldn't put him elite. I put him in the upper, but not the
elite. Upper class, but not the elite quarterbacks?
Consistent?
To me, the elite's only a couple.
For sure. Elites. I mean, but I think if he wins the Super Bowl...
It definitely moves him up into the higher.
The upper class of quarterbacks, and it cements people... It cements the reasoning for drafting him 3rd overall.
Yeah, I would agree.
Right. Looking at the running backs, and little update here, the Jets have won the game. So we're very happy about that, as all of us are. Me, perhaps more than others, but...
that's a nice bounce back, for sure.
Oh, it's great that the team's bounced back. And I want to point out, that's now 2 straight wins for Andre Pavlik. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a huge Andre Pavlik fan. Okay, so enough of that. Back to the football. Looking at running backs, here's where I think the game-changing difference is in the running backs. Because Ty Montgomery is not even a running back. He's a wide receiver that they transitioned into running back because Eddie Lacy and James Starks both got hurt. and they needed a running back because Aaron Rodgers threw nearly 80 more passes last season over Matt Ryan, right? And he was just throwing, like, you can't throw the ball 50 times a game and win.
Yeah.
It just makes it too easy for the defense to sit back and play pass defense and pick you off, right? So I think this is the biggest thing. Like, if you look, Ty Montgomery, only 77 carries, 457 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 fumble. Whereas Devonta Freeman, who, I had in fantasy this year, another, like, massive year in fantasy. I mean, 1,079 yards, 11 touchdowns. Like, I think that says it right there. Like, that to me is the difference maker. Both teams have fairly good offenses. Both teams have good quarterbacks. Both teams have, pretty trashy defenses. But I think the difference is at running back because that's just Atlanta's first running back. They've also got Tevin Coleman, who also had, like, a wicked year.
Yeah.
He's just like, I mean, that's like half the 227 carries that Devonta Freeman got. That's only like half of their rushing offense. I mean, Tevin Coleman played almost an equal number of snaps this year as Devonta Freeman, and the difference between the two of them is very small, but Devonta Freeman is technically the number 1 running back. Whereas the Packers have a wide receiver who they transitioned into a running back because their guys got hurt.
I just feel like this game, with the defense being so mediocre, this really will be a shootout between quarterbacks and.
Oh, totally. I mean, like if you look at it, like total yards, right? Green Bay was 8th, and Atlanta was 2nd in passing yards for all. These are all offensive stats here, right?
Yeah.
Green Bay was 7th, and Atlanta was 3rd. And like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Why running backs are the big difference in this game? Because Green Bay ranked 20th in rushing yards per game, where Atlanta ranked 5th in rushing yards per game. That's why I think the big difference is going to come from. I mean, points-wise, they're very similar. Atlanta was 1st in points, and Green Bay was 4th. So those are very close. But I think the ability for the Atlanta defense to know that they don't really have to focus as much on the running game as...
They have versatility on the field.
No, the Packers lack versatility.
No, I'm saying the Falcons have versatility.
I don't know that the Falcons have versatility. I mean, their defense is...
Okay, I'm just talking strictly offense. I'm talking strictly offense.
Yeah, on the offensive side of the ball, on the offensive side of the ball,
yeah,
the Falcons are perhaps the most versatile team. I mean, they got Mohamed Sanu and Julio Jones at wide receiver. They've got Tevin Coleman and Devonta Freeman at running back and Matt Ryan. I mean, the 5 of them combined, like it's. I mean, if you're going to double cover Julio Jones, it means you're leaving single coverage on Mohamed Sanu.
Yeah.
And he's
vice versa.
Yeah, and if you're going to double cover Mohamed Sanu, then you're single covering Julio Jones. So like, either situation, and then if you want to stop the running game of Atlanta, well, now you're leaving both Sanu and Julio in single coverage because you're trying to fill the box, and you're trying to fill that, right? So no matter what you do, you're getting a mismatch because you're trying to pick one to defend.
I think the one thing that could be the game changer in this whole thing.
Yeah.
Is if Atlanta's defense plays like they did last week, because they played pretty good last week,
and see,
they played above their ranking for sure. If they can do it again this week, I think Atlanta hands down wins with that 5-point spread.
Oh yeah, because they were playing Seattle last week, right? Yeah.
I mean, Seattle's not an offensive juggernaut, but still to shut down a team like that, it's still.
Well, the thing is, like Seattle's trying to become more offensive. Like they're trying to transition from being a defensive team to an offensive team.
I know Rodgers is one of the premier quarterbacks in the league. He's a great offensive player, puts up the points. But I mean, if the Atlanta defense can play like they did last week, it gives Atlanta a much bigger chance of winning. But because their defense is so poorly ranked,
I think
it's a big.
On top of that, I think the other big one is Jordy Nelson. Is whether Jordy Nelson can play or not, because Jordy Nelson missed last week's game because he had broken ribs.
Ooh, yeah,
right?
I don't know. Do you think he's back? I don't know if he's
well,
back.
they're saying here that he's expected to be available. But I mean, like, if you're still playing with a broken rib, like, that's going to be painful. Every time you catch the ball and get tackled, that's going to hurt, right? So, I mean, if he's not 100% healthy, and if he, like, because he's Aaron Rodgers' #1 target, right? I mean, looking at the offensive stats here, you know, Jordy Nelson caught 97 receptions on 152 targets, 2 drops, 1,200 yards, and 14 touchdowns, 1 fumble. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that, I mean, he's thrown to Randall Cobb, and who's terrible. Devontae Adams, who's like Mr. Butterfingers, like the guy catches balls like he's got cinder blocks for hands. And then, I mean, who else? Like, no one, really. I mean, and he's got a running back. His top running back is a wide receiver. You know, I think the Packers are just they're facing too much this week, right? They're like Aaron Rodgers has to have another like Hall of Fame-esque kind of game just to give the Packers a fighting chance.
I mean, if you're Jordy Nelson, if he's not good to go,
well, I mean,
do you risk putting him in? Even if
I think you do, because if you win the game, right, you get.
But what if you lose and he gets hurt and he's now?
Well, then you've got the entire offseason to rest and heal. You can have surgery. That doesn't really matter. I think you play him. I think if he's above 50%, I think you put him in. Because if you win, right, you get next week off because it's the Pro Bowl, right? Because you get that extra week of rest for the Pro Bowl and then the Super Bowl, right? So I think you play him. I think you have to play him because if you win, you get a week off. That's more time to heal, and you're in the Super Bowl. If you lose, well, you don't have to worry about the injury anymore because you're out.
That is true.
Right? I think it's all systems go. But I definitely think I think Atlanta's going to win. I just think they're facing too much. Like the Packers defense is not as good as people think it is. I mean, at the start of the season, people were talking about the Green Bay defense being an elite defense. Well, I want to point out they finished 22nd overall. Their passing defense was 31st. They're the second worst passing defense going up against the number one offense.
Yeah, they're going to get shredded up that week.
Right? So basically,
it's going to be a shootout.
It's going to be Aaron Rodgers. How many touchdowns can Aaron Rodgers throw to keep pace with however many touchdowns Matt Ryan throws?
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
That's going to be the game. And it might come down to a last-second field goal to win to like tie and go to overtime.
That'd be a good game.
I think it'll be a great game to watch, but I just don't see how the Packers can win this.
Yeah,
I just don't.
Yeah, I don't see
because they're the second worst. I mean, to be fair, Atlanta, their passing defense was 28th. So I mean, basically, Matt Ryan and Aaron Rodgers are just going to pick apart the defense, and it's going to be a touchdown fest. You know, I guess that's why the over/under is set at 60. I mean, each team's going to score, what, like 35? It's going to be a game that's like 36-34 or something like that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It's going to be a very high-scoring game, touchdowns everywhere. And I guess if we're all in kind of agreement on this was kind of a lot easier a game than the first game.
I think the first game is easier to call than this one.
Yeah. I mean,
I think they're both... I think this one's a lot harder to call because you never know if Aaron Rodgers has an Aaron Rodgers game and just goes nuts.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, he's the X factor.
Yeah, he really is.
And but I think he doesn't have enough X factor in him to overcome how great the Atlanta offense is.
I do agree.
Right?
I think Atlanta offense is just too good this year.
And I guess quick little wrap up. I want to finish up with the player awards here. So we got the MVP. Basically, I'm pretty sure we can all agree that the MVP race is between Tom Brady and Matt Ryan.
Yeah. I'm gonna my boy Tom Brady.
Yeah, I'll go Tom
Brady.
He's
old. He's still the best.
I mean, Matt Ryan. 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's got more yards, more completions.
He also played more games.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's why you can't. That's why you don't want to give it to Tom Brady. That's why I have trouble giving it to Tom Brady because he missed a quarter of the season. Like if Alex Ovechkin missed 20 games in a season, right? Could you give him the MVP still?
Well, considering the numbers there, he missed like a quarter of the season, and he's
well. If his numbers were still one of the best and his team made playoffs, it'd be hard not to. If he was a direct impact on his team, I'm not saying Ryan doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying I think Tom with 4 more games.
See, here's where I'm at. I think this is because there's a couple of awards here, right? We have MVP and then Offensive Player of the Year. So basically, I love the mindset that whichever one gets MVP, the other one should be getting Offensive Player of the Year, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying we give MVP to Tom Brady
because
Tom
he's got less weapons, like you said earlier. He had Gronk all season.
Tom Brady is playing with a lesser quality team. He's had the greatest touchdown interception ratio of all time, 28 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. I mean, that's 14 touchdowns for every pick. It's never been done before.
And we both
it's a
agree
record.
if he played 4 more
right?
games, he'd have probably 10 more touchdowns.
Right, and maybe
he'd
have like 40 touchdowns to two interceptions to 3 interceptions.
Well, with MVP too, there's always that subjective.
Well, you got to speak up a little bit.
There's that subjective sort of trying to find a word.
Well, what does valuable mean to the voters?
Yeah, exactly. Like to the fans, you got to sell the MVP.
What is the most valuable? Is it the most valuable to your team, or is it the best player in the league?
I think MVP to me is most valuable to your team.
Yeah, exactly.
Like and I think if it's most valuable to your team, I think it's Tom Brady.
Yeah,
because I think if you put Sam Bradford on the,
I think it depends. I think if Matt Ryan had numbers that were game changing,
what they are, it was the 7th highest scoring offense of all time.
Has Tom Brady had a higher scoring offense than that before?
I do believe at one point, but I think since then, like the Peyton Manning Denver Broncos surpassed it.
Is this decided prior to Super Bowl?
What?
Is this decided prior to Super Bowl?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think
these are regular season.
Regular season.
I don't think his numbers are so much better than Brady's.
I mean, like Drew Brees has thrown for more yards before, and people have thrown for more touchdowns. I mean, it's a great season.
Oh, it's a fantastic season.
It's great. It is.
Yeah.
But I think Tom Brady plays with a team that has lesser quality skill players.
And look at Tom's numbers without Gronk.
Yeah.
With Gronk, those numbers jump.
Yeah, no Gronk for most of the season. He missed 4 games. I mean, to me, it's Tom Brady, and then I automatically give Matt Ryan Offensive Player of the Year.
That's what they're going to do.
Probably. I could see that happening.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
you wouldn't give both to one player.
Well, you could.
You could, but
you could, but you'd piss off a lot of people.
Yeah, so you won't. The politics of it,
So let's move over to Coach of the Year. I think Coach of the Year is actually like a no-brainer slam dunk. What? Yeah, okay, so Jason Garrett is the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and then Jack Del Rio is the coach of the Oakland Raiders. I think Coach of the Year is actually a slam dunk no-brainer. I think it's Jason Garrett.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Because Jason Garrett, he started off the preseason with Tony Romo and this backup rookie that no one knew about, Dak Prescott, and another rookie at running back, Ezekiel Elliott, who was drafted 4th overall this year. A 4th overall pick on a running back, that's very high for a running back, right?
Yeah.
And you've got Jerry Jones, like one of the crazy NFL owners who likes to meddle with his team. And
he's too hands-on.
He is very hands-on.
Too hands-on for my taste.
I mean, it's not like he doesn't know football. Like, he did play college football for 4 years in his youth. Like, he does know football very well. He just likes to meddle because he's more about making it a show and making it more about an experience and a show rather than football games for the most part. But Jack Del Rio, the Raiders were fantastic this year. One of the number one offenses. I mean, they led the league in penalties again, like they've done for like the last 20 years. But I mean, Tony Romo gets hurt in the 3rd game of the preseason, and Jason Garrett is forced to play rookie Dak Prescott, rookie Ezekiel Elliott for the whole season. And then Tony Romo gets healthy, and Jerry Jones gets on the radio and starts talking about, well, if we have a bad game, we'll put Tony Romo back in. And Jason Garrett has to stand there and figure out, he has to coach this rookie kid to block it out of his mind and don't think about the veteran coming back to take his job back, and you're going to lose your job as a rookie if you have a bad game. And he coached the Cowboys to being the number 1 seed in the NFL.
I mean, to me,
they lost 2 games all year, I believe.
I think it was 2.
I think it's 2. Yeah, 2 to the Giants.
And then they played one of the best playoff games I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, it was one of the most exciting games of all time.
That was a great game.
It was amazing.
And they didn't lose because they're rookie. They lost.
They didn't. They just got outscored.
Yeah.
It was very close.
So I mean, I think Jason Garrett gets it 100%.
Yeah. Sorry, 3 games. They lost 3 games.
The Rio did a good job with the Raiders.
The Raiders were just as good this year.
You never think they'd be a good team, assuming they're built. But I mean,
the Raiders were 12-4. I mean, they had a really great offense this year, but in classic Oakland Raider fashion, they had 1 million penalties. They had a game where they broke the record for most penalties in one game. They had 23 accepted penalties. So that doesn't even include the penalties that the other team declined to take.
I mean,
Right.
you got to go with Jason Garrett. Maybe if the penalties were down,
If the penalties were down and the defense in Oakland was a little bit better,
you could have more
Right.
argument. But
Yeah.
I mean, you have to go with Jason
I think
Garrett.
it's Jason Garrett. So then we got our offensive player of the year. Well, we already talked about that. So we're giving Tom Brady the MVP. So we're giving Matt Ryan offensive player of the year. We all agree there.
Yeah.
I think that works pretty well. Defensive player of the year. It's got to be. I think it has to be Jadeveon Clowney with the Texans. I think it has to be him because J.J. Watt. I believe in week 5, J.J. Watt had back surgery for a herniated disc, and Jadeveon Clowney made the Texans the number 1 defense. Imagine how great that defense would be if you had, because Clowney is a linebacker and Watt's a defensive end, but they both play on the same side, right? They both play on the left side. So you've got Clowney and Watt both coming on the left side, right? And now you subtract J.J. Watt, the best pass rusher in the league, and you've still got the number 1 defense. I think you give
That's a strong argument.
defensive player of the year to Jadeveon Clowney because
Yeah.
once you lose J.J. Watt, you didn't lose the status of number 1 defense.
Yeah.
Rookies of the year, I think you could choose either one from Dallas, either Ezekiel Elliott or Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
I'm more in favor of Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, he broke the rookie rushing record. He led the league in rushing. As great as Dak Prescott was this year, he did have a few games where he just kind of had a couple clunkers, but Ezekiel
I do
Elliott.
feel like Prescott had more pressure on him.
Oh, definitely,
Right.
because there was always the threat of Tony Romo coming back. Whereas with Dallas, there's no running back in Dallas that's going to take Ezekiel Elliott's job.
I think either way, you can't go wrong.
But I
No,
think,
you can't go wrong.
and the other thing I like about Elliott is Elliott runs like Emmitt Smith, the last great Cowboys running back.
Yeah, he was,
Right, and
he
Yeah.
was good.
He's
He was good.
he's pretty fantastic. And then I think for offensive rookie of the year, I think I'm giving it to. So we had our rookie of the year, right? And now we've got offensive rookie of the year. I'm giving that to Zeke. I'm giving both of them to Zeke. If I'm giving rookie of the year, if I'm giving the
records and stuff,
if I'm giving
Yeah,
rookie of the year to
breaking
Ezekiel
records.
Elliott, I mean,
Yeah.
he broke the rookie rushing record and led the league in rushing.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he gets both.
yeah.
I think he gets
Yeah.
both.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think so defensive rookie of the year, this one's gonna be a lot tougher for you guys.
I know nothing about this.
Yeah, no, okay. So Miles
Yes,
Jack
so-
and Jalen Ramsey are both play for the Jaguars, and then Joey Bosa plays for the Chargers.
I know Bosa.
Yeah, so Bosa held out the first few games of the season because he was in a contract dispute about how his bonus money was going to get distributed to him. And then Miles Jack and Jalen Ramsey both play for the Jaguars. I just have a problem giving it to the Jaguars players because they didn't have a good defense.
Yeah, it's
Like the Jaguars were always getting down early and then having to come back and like struggle to keep games even competitive.
yeah. I don't like it.
And I think Joey Bosa stepped on the field and instantly made the Chargers defense like from here to here.
Yeah, no,
I mean, Manti Te'o was playing pretty decently in the middle there, and I think Joey Bosa is that like franchise pass rusher that you need.
Yeah,
Like every team has like 3 great things. You got a quarterback, you got an offensive line, and a pass rusher.
Yeah.
And I think Joey Bosa. And now look at the Chargers, right? The Chargers have Phillip Rivers. They've got a pretty okay offensive line,
Not bad.
and Joey Bosa,
Yeah,
I mean,
I like it.
right?
I like that pick just because I don't like the Jaguars. defense at all.
The Jags didn't have a good defense, so I don't think you should win Defensive Rookie of the Year if you had a bad team. I just don't see you being that great. And I think for Comeback Player of the Year, I think it's like pretty no questions asked. Like, it's got to be Jordy Nelson. I mean, Jordy Nelson had, 1,257 yards,
I say Tom Brady.
Four-
First 4 games.
14 touchdowns. No, but Comeback Player of the Year is
I know.
it's about a guy from last year, right? So who played bad last year or missed last year due to injury, and then had a great year this year? And to me, it's Jordy Nelson. No one else really stands out.
Yeah.
I mean,
You don't know who next year's going to be, though. Gronkowski.
no, it's not going to be close. It's going to be J.J. Watt.
No, he's going to be gone.
Well,
He'll come back. He'll play the whole season, hopefully. At least majority.
Well, I hope you prove me wrong, because I'd love to see Gronkowski come back and play. See, my biggest problem with Gronk is he's gonna go down as the greatest tight end of all time, but he's always hurt. Like
It is a shame.
every season he gets hurt and he misses a bunch of games. And I would love to see him be healthy for a full season just so he could truly show his dominance over everyone else.
I think with him, you got to cut down his playtime.
Well, but then you're limiting your offense.
All right, but look what he did on this year, though. If you keep him healthy and have him
that's the thing,
in the playoffs,
maybe sit him like 20% more snaps.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
let him play 80% of offensive or of the snaps that he would be playing now.
Yeah.
Play him a little less. Keep him healthy.
It's not because he's bad. It's because you got to keep him healthy.
Yeah, if he's not healthy, like if you're, it's what happened to what was it, Trevor Linden? Is it Eric Lindros? Eric Lindros had the concussions. Yeah, Lindros could have been fantastic, but he had too many concussions and he couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah,
he couldn't achieve the status that everyone thought he should.
Yeah.
Right? And so if Gronk can't stay healthy, can you really say he's the greatest of all time?
I mean, his numbers.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, if you can't stay healthy, can you?
I mean, if you played enough games to prove he has numbers, you can.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's a good argument, but if he has numbers, it's hard to dispute.
So this has been the 4th and 1, and I guess we're going to switch to, like, you guys want to take a couple minutes of a little chip in about, like, I mean, you said you watched Star Wars again yesterday. And we had a pretty heated debate about Star Wars. I mean, I kind of like to throw in this little bit of, like, lifestyle kind of segment at the end of the show, just because it gives it a bit of like off color. It gives it a bit of off color flavor. So I mean, Star Wars. I mean, I'll start with Jarett because I know you're gonna be the biggest Star Wars fan of the three of us.
Repping the shirt.
I mean, he shows up wearing a Star Wars shirt, and the first thing he says to you is, "Hey guys, I just saw Star Wars again." So I mean, did you like the new Star Wars?
It was great.
So what did you like about it?
Everything. Just the way it was shot, the way it feels. If you watch that movie and watch A New Hope right afterwards,
yeah,
you feel like you've seen. You're watching the same continuous story. It doesn't feel like you're watching movie that came out 40 years later.
Fair enough.
It feels like they captured the essence of the old movie so well with the costumes, the look, the atmosphere. But then, like you could watch A New Hope right afterwards, and not go, "Wow, this feels dated." Obviously some of the effects weren't quite as good. But it was so well done. It wasn't. It was a CG movie, but it still had so many great practical effects and. Just the atmosphere was so well done.
But I mean, and see, that's my problem with the movie is the time jumps around too much for me. I don't like
You're the one person who thinks that.
I probably am. I mean, hold on. I just want to preface this with I liked the movie. It was enjoyable. It was good. I mean, I'm not a Star Wars fanboy. For me, it was just another good movie that I could enjoy. I would watch it again if someone said, "Hey guys, it's like." Like when it comes on DVD or on TV or on Netflix, whatever, someone says, "Hey, let's watch it." Yeah, I would watch it again.
Let's say it jumps around too much. Let's say you watch a movie series you love. What's a movie series you love? That has sequels that follow a sequential order.
Well, I like the Fast.
I know it.
Well, I'm gonna go with the Fast and Furious.
Well, okay, I was gonna say Mighty Ducks.
Well, no, but the Mighty Ducks is completely sequential.
Now, say you're watching Fast and Furious, and they want to do a movie.
Oh, I'll totally agree with you here. The Fast and Furious, after they went past number 4. They got all weird, and it's not really about the cars anymore, and the storyline bounces back and forth. They bounce around from between. They bounce around from okay, we're in Japan, now we're not in Japan.
No, but see, they did the
Han's
exact
alive,
same thing.
and Han's dead, and Han's alive, and
so they did 1 and 2,
yeah.
And they thought, okay, this franchise is good enough, let's maybe do a third one.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying,
the third movie wasn't supposed to be part of it. They kind of said we'll do a
I know, but
movie at the end where it's
yeah.
you'll have Dom knows him somehow.
I'm just saying,
and they said, they did so well, people want to see more. So they said, let's do that movie and just tie it in.
But I'm saying
this was not tied in. This was this happened so many years ago. We want to see more of what happened between.
But what I'm saying is for the sake of simplicity and order, just make your sequels follow order, right?
Why?
Just make
Episode 8 comes out this year, so in between years.
So it's called
a Star Wars story. It's not an episode.
So in reality, we went 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, and then we went 3.5, and now we're gonna go 7, 8.
It's not 3.5.
But the Fast and Furious deviation is not that big. All they had to do was quickly write in a little bit about Tokyo Drift. That's all they had to do, and then the rest of it is totally coherent.
No. This was because Trevor, I know what you're saying, but
as a non-Star Wars fanboy, I found it very confusing the first time I watched it, and when I watched it the second time to make more sense, it was all a lot clearer.
Well, the trick is you got to quit thinking of it as 3.5. It's not 3.5. It's just the story.
Because the way they intend these movies, because they're happening every year in between the number of sequels.
Yeah.
They're called Star Wars stories.
Just like an offshoot.
Yeah.
It's just an offshoot. It fills in the blanks of something that's already happened. You can go back to any area you want, anytime you want, and just fill in some story. Because it's a whole universe.
Yeah.
It's not just the Skywalker.
Oh no, I've heard about that. I mean, like, I've heard that the Star Wars office people are really great about like when fans create stuff. They really encourage Star Wars fans to create their own
before
stuff.
Episode 8 came out,
As long as it's G-rated.
There was tons of comics and games that would fill in the gaps in between the story way before the story, the movies. This was just a movie that came out that filled in some of the gap between the movies. Yeah. And it just so happens that they ended it 20 minutes before A New Hope starts. Yeah. That's why there's any confusion.
I get that.
If it ended and then A New Hope didn't happen for another year, like in the movie, in the actual Star Wars timeline,
that makes sense.
People would be like, oh, it's a great other movie.
Yeah, it's like the Fast and Furious when Han dies at the end of Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
Well, he dies in Tokyo Drift, but then he dies at the end of what was it? 6?
I'm not actually sure. I kind of lost track after
6 or something like that.
5.
5? That was one after Brazil 5?
No, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, 6. Yeah, so he dies right after 6, right? But it takes place like him dying after 6 takes place like immediately. Like 7 follows up like not even that far behind.
No, but him dying at 6, they like flash back to like simultaneously in Tokyo.
Yeah, he dies after 6. Yeah. But my point is that
Gal Gadot's character dies, and he goes to Tokyo.
Yeah.
Then Tokyo Drift happens.
Yeah.
And then 7 happens.
Yeah, and 7 doesn't happen that long after. It's not like it's like 2 years or 3 years after.
Like a couple
months.
6 happens like simultaneously to Tokyo Drift, and 7 happens like immediately following.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tokyo Drift happens after 6.
Yeah,
6 happens.
It
happens. Then he's like, I'm going to Tokyo. See you later.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
He gets all bitter and whatnot.
Yeah. No, you guys are right.
He's like, bye. Like,
man, I guess one last point.
Yeah.
We got some of this weather. It's crazy.
Well, it's like the
last +3 and raining.
It's not gonna be like the last day of it. It's dropping back to averages like next.
It's
2 weeks.
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like -30 this week though.
Ugh.
Normally, like this is supposed to be like the cold week.
Yeah, but I mean, like it's gonna be like -22 average like the next. Couple
it's warm in January.
I'm just saying.
February is cold.
+3 and raining. Like if anyone doesn't believe in global warming, explain that one to me.
No, it is climate change. Yeah, it is climate change and all those crazy effects. Yeah,
no, I know. I'm just saying. Like it's. I find it like I was going to play some outdoor hockey last night. And, like you couldn't because it was raining.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'll take it over.
But so I guess quick recap. Packers win, or no, Packers lose.
Packers lose. Yeah.
Patriots win.
Patriots
win. Falcons win.
Yeah.
We're gonna have New England Patriots versus Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl.
I'm taking
in the Super Bowl. Who do you take? You got Jarett?
Patriots.
I'll take Falcons just to mix it up.
And I mean, I would go with the Patriots
just to be a dissenting voice.
Just because I want Tom Brady to.
I want the fuck you tour.
Yeah. Oh man, G-rated podcast here, man.
Ooh.
It's the FU tour.
I'm pretty sure we dropped a couple way before. Like I'm like 90% certain we subconsciously dropped a lot before.
Yeah, but the Motion Picture Association of America, they let you get away with like 2 FUs. As long as it's not like directed at.
And you get one for a PG-13 movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What movie is that? This film has not been rated. Is that documentary? I haven't seen it.
I have seen that. This film has not been rated. It's a documentary about the rating. Anyways, so Patriots, Falcons. Jared's got the Patriots.
I'm saying Falcons just to be a dissenter.
Tom just hates life and wants to pick the Falcons.
Yep.
He's going to get razzed forever on that pick.
Yep.
And I'm taking the Patriots. So for the 4th and 1, I'm Trevor. I hope episode 1 went well. And we'll try and get episode 2 going sometime, hopefully with different guests. I'm trying to have different guests on every episode, and maybe at some point in the future I can have you guys back on another episode of the 4th and 1 podcast.
If you liked it, hit the like button. If you liked it even more, hit that subscribe button.
Oh man, I totally forgot to say that. That's great.
I got you.